Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about inflation explained with Candy. What is inflation? Well, if you are right now a working person, you will understand inflation right away. You are making the same amount of money you were making last year, but now you're not able to buy the same goods and services because things are way more expensive than they used to be. And this is basically what is inflation. So in simple words, inflation is when you lose your purchasing power. Let's pretend we live in CANDYLAND, and this is basically the currency, Torontos, which is a Venezuelan candy, delicious. And basically, we're going to understand today why are we suffering right now for inflation. CANDYLAND, Ken and Barbie, with one candy, they can actually buy all of these groceries. So what happens when they get inflation? Now, let's remember, 2020 hit, we have lockdowns. And when you have, all of these restrictions from the government, what's going to happen? You're not going to be able to have the same rate of production. So if before a grocery store was able to get 100 chocolate milk, now the same, supply is going to be very limited because, people were not working. We all know what happens in 2020. So what happens with the prices? So this is the first factor. We have a supply that is limited. At the same time, the government starts printing money or increasing what is called the money supply. Now, there's going to be many Torontos out there because the interest rates go down. So anyone can say, oh, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and borrow and get money from the bank. So everyone that can start basically, getting in debt so they can have all of this cash in their hands. So Barbie and Ken borrow money, or borrow in this case CANDYLAND, all of these Torontos, and they go to the grocery store. What's going to happen here, because everything is limited, they're going to be willing to pay a higher price, and suppliers will put a higher price because they have limited inventory. So you can see that when the banks lower the interest rate, money's all out there. And then basically, like in real estate, we got what it was called the seller's market. You have limited housings and you have all these buyers, and they were paying way above the market price because they just wanted the house. And then when the market comes down, which that's what's happening right now, then their assets are actually were overvalued at that time, and right now they're just basically with a negative equity. This is also why cryptocurrency is becoming like a new way of dealing with money, because think about it, which we're going to do a video about that. Money is one of the best inventions that mankind have had. And the reason why is because the valuation of an asset is very different from person to person. So money is able to kind of smooth the transaction and say, look, this is how much this is worth and all that. The main problem right now that we're having, and that's the difference between a decentralized and centralized system, is that the banks or the Fed, they have the power of controlling the money supply. Also, they have the power of creating inflation, or basically doing what is the opposite, which is deflation, which is when, you're trying to stop what you did and going back to a normal economy, which is going to take a long time. Inflation is an abstract, and it's also a complex concept that we all really need to understand. That way we can actually see what will be better, to have a centralized system or decentralized system, and see how much power a government should have and how much power the people should have. So when I eat my Toronto, have a great day. The best chocolate in the world is from Venezuela. Not the best government, but best cacao.